Most people don't give much thought to the color of their fence. It's just paint, right? A matter of taste or curb appeal. But what if I told you that a single color choice, something you barely notice after it dries, could be affecting more than just how your house looks? It might be shaping how your home feels, how your energy moves, and in some cases, even how your money flows. I know it sounds unusual, but stay with me. Because for years, I've worked with people who feel like they are doing everything right, and still something feels stuck. They're exhausted but can't sleep. They work hard but bills keep piling up. They take care of their space, yet the atmosphere inside their home feels heavy. And more often than not, when we trace it back, it starts right at the edge, at the fence. You see, in energy work and practical design alike, your fence is the first contact point between your home and the outside world. It either welcomes energy in or quietly keeps it out. That means the color you choose isn't just a design decision, it's a signal. And some colors, though stylish or trendy, carry properties that may block positive flow, invite emotional imbalance, or dull the sense of clarity and purpose you try so hard to cultivate inside. In this video, we'll talk about 4 common fence paint colors that might be doing more harm than good. Not in dramatic, superstitious ways, but in subtle, day-to-day effects that build up over time. If you've ever felt like your home should feel more peaceful, more energized, or simply lighter, then this might be a change worth looking into. Let's start with the most surprising color of all, the one that seems earthy and safe, but often leaves your home feeling like it's wrapped in quiet fatigue. Part 1. The fence isn't a barrier, it's a doorway to destiny. We often think of a fence as a simple border, something to mark the edge of our property, keep the pets in, or add a bit of privacy from passing cars. And for the most part, that's true. But in the quiet world of energy, and in the reality of how we feel in our own homes, the fence plays a much bigger role than we give it credit for. It's not just a barrier. It's the first thing the outside world sees, the first thing energy touches before entering your space. It's the handshake between your home and the world. And just like first impressions in people, the impression your fence gives off, visually and energetically, can determine whether your home feels open, safe, and inviting, or closed, dull, and disconnected. Think about it. Have you ever walked past a house that looked picture perfect, but something about it felt off? Maybe it looked cold or too quiet, or just heavy somehow, even if everything was clean and in order. That feeling often starts at the fence, because the color, condition, and energy of that outermost edge sets the tone for everything that follows. It's like the opening line of a conversation. Before you've even stepped inside, it's already telling a story. The question is, what story is your fence telling? In the American lifestyle, where many of us strive for comfort, privacy, and a sense of home, the fence has become almost invisible. We pick a color that matches the trim, or that looks neutral enough not to stand out too much. But neutral doesn't always mean balanced, and safe doesn't always mean supportive. In fact, many of the colors that seem stable at first glance, like taupe, charcoal gray, or deep brown, can actually carry heavy, stagnant, or even blocking energy that subtly affects the way we live. Not in loud or dramatic ways, but in quiet, persistent ones. The kind that builds slowly until one day you realize you've been feeling tired for months, or that your home feels more like a place to crash than a place to recharge. This is where the deeper truth begins. Your fence isn't just there to keep things out. It's also meant to let things in: peace, flow, abundance, connection. When painted and cared for with intention, it becomes a kind of filter, allowing supportive energy into your home, while keeping out what no longer serves you. But when the fence is neglected, cracked, or painted in a color that clashes with the natural energy of your space, it does the opposite. It becomes like a sealed door, shutting out everything you've been trying to invite in without you even knowing it. And this isn't theory. It's something many people have felt but couldn't explain. A sense that life is always 2 steps behind. That no matter how hard they work, nothing really moves. The bills keep coming, the energy stays low, relationships feel strained, and sleep doesn't restore the way it used to. In dozens of consultations, I've met women who take care of everyone else, keep their homes clean and beautiful, but still feel like something's missing. And often, that something begins with what greets the energy first, the fence. Let me ask you, when was the last time you looked at your fence not just as a structure, but as a messenger? When was the last time you noticed its color, not for how trendy or subtle it is, but for how it makes you feel when you pull into the driveway? Is it welcoming? Is it tired? Does it reflect what you want to bring into your life, or is it simply there? Because here's the truth most people overlook. The fence is where energy meets intention. It's the pause before the breath, the moment before the welcome. And when that moment is mudded, when the message is unclear or conflicted, it sets the tone for everything inside. A fence painted in a heavy, overly dark color might look modern and sharp, but it can dull the spirit of the home. It can weigh down the light trying to get in. It can block the flow that your house needs to thrive, not because the color is wrong, but because it's wrong for that space, that direction, that season of life. That's why in healing design, we don't start from aesthetics, we start from sensation, from what you want to feel and what you want your home to invite in. Do you want peace, lightness, vitality, connection? Then your home must say that from the very first glance, at the very first edge. And that means looking again more carefully at the color that quietly wraps your home from the outside. A woman once told me she repainted her fence after 10 years. She hadn't thought much about it until her daughter came to visit and said, "Mom, the house feels brighter, happier somehow. Same windows, same living room, same garden, but with the new color, softer, clearer, more aligned with the direction of the home, everything felt lighter." That's not magic, that's energy given a path. It's what happens when you open a door that's been shut for too long and fresh air finally returns. So today I invite you to do something simple. Walk outside, stand in front of your fence. Look not just at the paint, but at the message it carries. What does it say about your space, about your life? Is it holding your energy in or holding it back? Is it protecting your peace or keeping it out? In the next part, I'll share 4 common fence colors that look safe, but might be sending the wrong message entirely. You don't need to tear anything down, but you might need to repaint the way energy enters your life. And that change, small as it seems, might be exactly where everything else begins to shift. Part 2, 4 colors that drain health and money. Color 1, taupe brown, cold earth. Nothing grows. Taupe brown is a color many people choose without a second thought. It feels neutral, easy to match with almost any exterior, and safe. Exactly the kind of tone that blends in without drawing attention. It's the color of calm earth, a middle ground between warm and cool, between classic and modern. And yet, in energy work, taupe brown carries a quiet weight, a kind of heaviness that most people don't notice at first, but feel over time. It's not dramatic, it doesn't scream for change, but it whispers stagnation. It settles into the bones of a house like a fog that never quite lifts. It creates a stillness that looks peaceful on the outside, but inside nothing moves. Think of soil in winter. It's not broken or destroyed, it's simply asleep, cold, still, waiting. Taupe brown on your fence holds a similar energy. It grounds, but in a way that can suppress growth if left unchecked. This isn't about superstition. It's about the patterns people experience in homes wrapped in this color. I visited houses where every room was spotless, the family kind and hardworking, and yet something lingered in the air. A quiet fatigue, a lack of direction, a heaviness that no amount of decluttering could shake. The common thread, a taupe or gray-brown fence surrounding the property like a border of muted silence. The problem isn't just in how the color looks, it's how it interacts with natural energy. Taupe, especially when mixed with gray tones, carries passive, low-vibration energy. It doesn't reflect light, it absorbs it. And because the fence is the first layer of energetic contact, this color creates a filter that dims the flow before it ever reaches your front door. Over time, this can affect the mood inside your home. Tired mornings, sluggish afternoons, and nights where you sleep but never feel rested. For some, it shows up as procrastination, an invisible wall between what they want to do and what they actually get done. For others, it becomes emotional distance, family members growing quieter with each passing month, conversations becoming brief, mechanical, or filled with unspoken tension. Financially, the energy of taupe brown doesn't scream loss, but it rarely allows for gain. It's not a color that attracts, it holds. And while that might sound secure in energy flow, holding too tightly often becomes blocking. What enters doesn't stay. What stays doesn't grow. Homeowners often describe it like this. We're not losing money, but we're never really moving forward. There's always something that takes it. Unexpected bills, repairs, things that drain, not destroy, but leave you spinning in place, always catching up. Emotionally, this color has a way of silencing warmth, not because it's dark, but because it's dull. It fades into the background so thoroughly that it makes the entire house feel like it's existing in grayscale. I've had clients say, I didn't realize how dim the house felt until we repainted the fence. And that's the quiet danger. When you live in a space like that long enough, the heaviness becomes normal. You stop noticing the absence of joy. The silence doesn't alarm you. It becomes part of the scenery, just like the taupe fence outside your window. I once spoke with a woman who had chosen taupe brown for her fence a decade ago. She picked it because it matched the stone on her walkway, simple, tasteful, understated. Over the years, her family changed. Her children grew distant. Her partner became withdrawn. She blamed stress, aging, modern life. Until one day, after repainting the fence in a lighter, warmer color almost on a whim, she noticed a shift, not just in how the house looked, but in how it felt. The living room started to feel brighter, even though the bulbs hadn't changed. Her grandchildren stayed longer when they visited, and she herself started sleeping through the night for the first time in years. Was it only the paint? No, but it was the first change that let new energy in, and that changed everything else. Taupe brown isn't evil, it's not cursed, but it is energy that slows things down. And if you're in a stage of life where you need healing, movement, or fresh beginnings, it may not be serving you the way you think it is. Because homes, like people, have seasons, and what once felt comforting can begin to hold you back when your needs evolve. So take a moment. Look at your fence not just as a structure, but as a symbol. Is it inviting light in or closing it off? Is it saying welcome or wait? Is it anchoring your energy or weighing it down? These aren't questions of design. They're questions of well-being, of energy, of subtle but powerful alignment between your home and the life you want to create inside it. Taupe brown feels safe, but sometimes safe isn't what we need. Sometimes what we need is permission to change, to lighten, to choose a color that breathes instead of settles. Because a fence doesn't just protect your space, it frames it. And how it frames your life can quietly shape everything within it. Color 2, deep purple, a quiet fire that burns clarity. Deep purple is a color we often associate with elegance. It's mysterious, regal, creative. It reminds us of velvet gowns, twilight skies, and candlelit rooms. For many, it's a bold yet refined choice, a statement without being loud. But when it wraps the exterior of your home, especially the fence, deep purple begins to whisper in a different tone. It doesn't scream for attention, but it doesn't stay quiet either. It lingers, it absorbs, and sometimes it holds on to more than it should, because behind its richness lies a kind of fire, a fire that doesn't warm but simmers just beneath the surface, distorting clarity and softening the edges of truth. When I visit homes with deep purple fences, the first thing I notice isn't the color, it's the atmosphere. There's a stillness that isn't quite peaceful, a beauty that feels just a little too dense. It's as if the space is thoughtful but tired, full but closed. People living in these homes often describe it the same way. They feel overstimulated but unproductive, emotionally full but unable to express, restless but too tired to move forward. And often they can't quite put their finger on why. Everything on paper looks fine, but their inner world feels foggy. This is what I call the purple paradox. It looks powerful, but it blurs the lines. It inspires, but it also overwhelms. In energy terms, deep purple belongs to the fire element, but not the fire of daylight or warmth. It's the fire of embers, intense, smoldering, and inward. It draws energy in rather than radiating it out. And when that kind of fire wraps the fence, the first energetic skin of your home, it can cause the energy entering your space to become too internalized. Instead of inviting movement, it stirs emotion. Instead of supporting clarity, it amplifies feeling. And when we live in a space that constantly feeds emotion but doesn't ground it, we begin to feel unmoored. Our thoughts spiral. Decisions take longer. We react more and reflect less. The house becomes a container for emotion, but not a sanctuary of peace. For women who carry much of the emotional weight of a household, who tend to everyone else's needs, who manage unspoken tensions, who remember birthdays, grocery lists, medical appointments, and emotional undercurrents all at once, this kind of color doesn't support. It heightens, and that's the difference. Deep purple might seem like a wise, protective shell, but it can quietly feed emotional overload. It can make a home feel like it's always processing but never releasing. And over time, that takes a toll. One woman told me she had always loved purple. It reminded her of creativity, of spirituality. But over the years, after painting her fence a deep plum tone, she began feeling more anxious at home. Her sleep became lighter, her thoughts more scattered. Conversations with her husband grew short. They weren't arguing, but they weren't connecting either. Her journaling increased, so did her inner doubt. She described it like being in a beautiful room with no windows, safe but always dim. And that metaphor stayed with me, because that's how deep purple on a fence can behave. It builds emotional richness but blocks emotional flow. From the outside, a deep purple fence can make a house look dignified, stately even. But at dusk, when the light fades, it can also create a shadow. It doesn't reflect, it holds. It can make a home feel closed off, as if it's retreating from the world. And when that impression is repeated every day, it starts to affect the people inside. Children become moodier, adults withdraw. The laughter at dinner fades into background noise or silence. The rooms still function, but the joy starts leaking away in quiet, nearly invisible ways. Energetically, this is what I call overconcentration. The home begins to hold energy too tightly. Ideas come, but don't take form. Emotions rise, but don't resolve. Money enters, but doesn't circulate. And the mind, instead of becoming clear, loops on itself. It's the mental version of walking in circles through a fog, and the more emotional weight we already carry, the heavier this loop becomes. Now, does this mean deep purple is a bad color? Not at all. In the right context, inside meditation spaces, on accent walls in well-lit rooms, it can be grounding and rich. But outside, on fences where energy should be moving in and flowing through, it can slow that flow down too much. It turns the gate into a dam. And if you're already dealing with uncertainty, fatigue, or emotional imbalance, it can intensify what's already there rather than offering relief. So what can you do? First, pay attention to how your home feels during the hours when light fades. Dusk is when energy transitions. If your house feels heavier in those moments, or your mood tends to dip in the evenings, take a closer look at the boundary. Look at the fence. Ask yourself, is it helping energy flow or holding it hostage? Is it protecting your family or insulating them emotionally? Because sometimes the most elegant color is the one quietly closing you off. And if you do choose to repaint, choose a tone that breathes. Lighter shades that reflect sunlight. Colors that support clarity, not just depth. Let your fence be the beginning of movement, not just containment. And above all, remember that your home doesn't just reflect your taste, it reflects your needs. And your needs at this stage of life may be asking for more ease, more peace, more space to rest. Deep purple is beautiful, but beauty without balance can become burden. And you deserve a home that doesn't just look calm, but feels free. Sometimes, the most powerful shift begins not with fixing the inside, but with softening the edge. Where the world meets your life, where your fence meets the light. Color 3, charcoal gray, a fog where money disappears. Charcoal gray is one of the most popular colors in modern home design. It's clean, sleek, and timeless. It feels sophisticated, safe, and easy to match. You see it on fences, garage doors, and exterior trim across countless neighborhoods, from suburban cul-de-sacs to custom-designed homes. But for all its polished appeal, charcoal gray carries an emotional weight that many homeowners don't recognize until much later. Because while this shade looks composed, what it often brings to the energy of a home is a quiet fog, a soft, invisible heaviness that settles over time. And in that fog, something precious begins to fade: clarity, motivation, and most of all, the ability to build and hold onto wealth. Here's why. In color energy terms, charcoal gray belongs to the yin spectrum, cool, inward, and muted. It doesn't reflect light, it absorbs it. It doesn't invite energy in, it slows it down. And when placed on the fence, the very first layer of contact between your home and the outside world, it begins to do exactly what fog does in nature. It blurs direction, muffles signals, and delays momentum. You don't always notice it at first. In fact, most people feel the opposite. They say the home feels neat or under control. But as time passes, so does that initial impression. What's left is something harder to name. A sense that life is on pause, that no matter how much you plan, organize, or try to get ahead, something keeps slowing you down. Money comes in, but it slips away. Ideas show up, but never fully form. And motivation, the energy that makes everything move, starts to dissolve into a kind of quiet fog. I've spoken to so many women, strong, capable, grounded women who describe this exact feeling. They're not in crisis, but they're not moving forward either. Their home is beautiful, their routine is solid, but their energy feels flat. They can't remember the last time they felt truly inspired. And their finances, predictable but tight, nothing dramatic, just stuck. When we explore the flow of energy around their home, charcoal gray fences show up more often than you'd expect. The fence might be perfect in condition, perfectly painted, perfectly modern, but it's also perfectly blocking the very things they're trying to welcome in: clarity, abundance, progress. The reason is subtle but powerful. Charcoal gray creates an energetic pause. It's like driving through fog. You move slower even if the road is clear. You doubt your next turn even if the path is familiar. Your mind becomes careful, cautious, hesitant. And in that state, opportunities don't disappear. They just slip through unnoticed. It's not that you're not trying, it's that the energy around you isn't guiding. It's absorbing. Energetically, a fence should act like a bridge, letting good energy in, filtering distractions, and helping the home breathe. But when the fence is a deep, heavy gray, it behaves more like a barrier. It doesn't open, it shields. And over time, that shielding can become isolating. You start to protect not just your space, but your risks, your voice, your creativity. And slowly, the home becomes a place where things stay the same, not because that's what you want, but because it's what the energy is reinforcing. There's a reason many people report shallow sleep or low energy in homes with deep gray exteriors. The color mimics dusk. It wraps the house in a tone that signals the end of the day, the slowing down, the withdrawing. And when that message repeats itself day after day, it starts to affect how you show up, how you manage your time, how you handle stress, how you talk to the people you love. One woman told me, "I thought I was just tired from work, but even after I retired, that fatigue never lifted. It was like living in low light all the time." And money, that's where it gets interesting, because in homes surrounded by heavy gray tones, money doesn't always vanish, but it rarely multiplies. Income feels like it's always just enough to cover needs, never enough to grow dreams. Clients cancel. Job offers delay. Ideas never turn into results. It's not loss, it's slow erosion. A kind of soft, consistent drain that you can't quite trace. Here's what I want you to know. This isn't about fear. This is about flow. And when a fence is painted in a color that slows flow, everything inside the home begins to echo that rhythm. Not because you've done something wrong, but because the space is mirroring what the color signals. A gray fence tells energy to wait, to soften, to dim. But your home, your life, especially at this stage, needs brightness, clarity, and movement. Does that mean charcoal gray is always bad? No. In certain places, on doors, in controlled accents, paired with reflective tones, it can be grounding. But on a fence where energy first arrives, It often becomes too much, too still, too heavy, especially if your life already carries weight, whether that's emotional, financial, or physical. The last thing your home needs is a color that compounds the load. So if you have a charcoal gray fence or are thinking of painting one, ask yourself, what season of life am I in? Do I need stillness or support? Do I want control or connection? Do I need to shield or to shine? Because your fence doesn't just hold a color, it holds a message. And that message can either clear the way or cloud the path. One homeowner repainted her charcoal fence in a soft, warm cream, not because someone told her to, but because she was craving light. Within weeks, she noticed she was waking up earlier, drinking her coffee outside again, feeling more energy in her body. Her finances didn't explode, but they began to stabilize. She started spending more consciously and surprisingly had more left over. The fog didn't just lift from her fence, it lifted from her life. That's the power of small choices made with intention. A fence isn't just wood and paint. It's the mouth of the home. And when that mouth is closed too tightly, nothing flows. But open it just a little and the world begins to move again. Color 4, black, the color of deep water and lost light. Black is a color that commands attention. It's timeless, elegant, and deeply rooted in design trends, from glossy black front doors to sleek black fences that frame a modern home like a perfectly tailored suit. On the surface, black communicates control, refinement, even confidence. It's bold without being loud. But underneath its polished surface, black carries a depth few colors can match. And when that depth surrounds your home in the form of a fence, it can start to absorb more than just sunlight. It can begin to pull in energy, mood, and motion. It becomes less of a color and more of a silent weight. Let's step into this gently. Black isn't evil. It isn't unlucky, but it is heavy. It is the color of deep water, of night, of mystery. It's the absence of light, and in the energy of your home, that absence matters. Because when your fence is painted black, what it often signals, unintentionally, is hold everything in. It becomes a wall that doesn't just mark boundaries, but seals them. And while that can feel protective at first, over time, it creates a kind of energetic vacuum. One where joy has to fight to stay, money has trouble moving freely, and peace becomes harder to hold onto. Many people choose black because it feels powerful. And in some environments, in very specific contexts, it can be. But on a fence, where energy first enters your home, it often creates the opposite of what you intend. It doesn't welcome, it guards, it doesn't filter, it absorbs. I've stood in front of homes with black fences that looked striking from the street, yet felt hollow the moment I stepped inside. The rooms were beautiful but flat. The air felt still, not restful, just stuck. The owners weren't unhappy, but they weren't thriving either. They were in motion, but going nowhere. They were earning, but never saving. Loving, but not connecting. Energetically, black carries what we call extreme yin. That means it invites stillness, inwardness, even retreat. And while some yin is healthy, rest, reflection, quiet, in excess, it begins to pull us inward too far. It encourages isolation. It mutes energy. It can leave people feeling tired without knowing why, emotionally foggy, or low on motivation for no clear reason. And because this shift happens slowly over time, most people never link it back to something as simple as the color of their fence. One woman shared her story with me after she'd lived with a black fence for 6 years. At first, she loved it. It made the landscaping pop. It gave the house a crisp, high-end feel. But then the house began to feel heavier. Her family, once lively and connected, began to drift into separate corners of the home. Dinners grew quieter. Laughter became less frequent. She began feeling fatigued after spending time outside, even on sunny days. Eventually, she repainted the fence to a soft blue-gray, and within weeks she noticed she was breathing deeper. The house felt brighter. Her children lingered longer in the yard, and she realized that what she thought was just a color had been subtly reshaping the emotional rhythm of her home. That's the thing about black, it doesn't give back. It's not reflective. It doesn't help energy bounce or move. Instead, it absorbs. It draws things inward: light, sound, emotion. And when the outer edge of your home starts absorbing instead of circulating, your inner space begins to lose its brightness. Think about how a room feels with all the curtains drawn. Now imagine that feeling wrapped around the entire house. That's what a black fence can quietly create. Financially, the effects are equally subtle but significant. Black doesn't repel money, but it often blocks the flow that allows money to grow. Energy becomes stagnant. Unexpected bills arrive. Projects stall. Opportunities show up but never land. It's not financial crisis, it's financial fog. The kind where you can't quite explain why the numbers don't add up or why the savings never seem to last. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just living in a space that slows wealth down instead of helping it move and multiply. And emotionally, a black fence can mirror grief. It can deepen feelings of loneliness or create an atmosphere of quiet tension. For those already carrying emotional weight, loss, worry, transition, it can feel like living with a closed door to your own light. It's the kind of color that says, not now, not yet, wait. And while those messages might feel protective, they can also keep healing just out of reach. So what do you do if your fence is black? You don't need to panic. You don't need to tear it down, but you do need to notice. Ask yourself, does my home feel like it's growing or just surviving? Do I feel energized when I step outside or quietly drained? Do conversations feel open or unusually brief? And if the answer to any of these feels heavy, it might be time to repaint. Not because the color is bad, but because the season of your life may need something lighter, brighter, more giving. There are ways to soften black without losing its grounding effect. Adding greenery along the fence line. Repainting with a shade that reflects, like soft charcoal, deep green, or warm brown. Or simply mixing black with natural textures, wood, stone, warm lighting that reintroduce life to the space. It's not about trends, it's about tone, about giving your home the chance to speak in warmth, not silence. Because your fence isn't just a boundary, it's a message. A declaration of what kind of energy is allowed to come in and what you're ready to let go. And if that message has been, hold it all, carry it all, stay strong and quiet, maybe it's time to shift the tone. To open the gate a little wider, to paint in a way that says, I'm ready for light again. Part 3: colors that open the door to prosperity. If certain colors quietly drain energy, others quietly give it back. Just as some hues weigh a home down with stillness, others invite flow, brightness, and renewal. And when it comes to your fence, the very first point where energy meets your home, the right color can do more than beautify. It can unlock a different rhythm in your life. A rhythm where prosperity doesn't have to be chased. It just knows where to land. Let's begin where energy starts: direction. Every home faces a specific direction, and that direction has its own energetic signature. Think of it like the way sunlight enters a room. East-facing homes catch the morning light, while west-facing homes catch the last golden hour of the day. Your fence, in harmony with this natural energy, either welcomes wealth or delays it. It's not about superstition. It's about tuning your space to nature's timing. If your home faces east or southeast, you are in the realm of sunrise. These directions belong to the wood element, growth, expansion, and the beginning of new chapters. The best fence colors here are greens and blues. Green represents vitality, life, fresh energy. It encourages not just physical growth, but emotional and financial resilience. Blue, especially soft sky tones, supports clarity and calm while feeding wood's growth energy through its connection to water. Homes facing east or southeast with fences in these colors tend to feel alive. People feel lighter when they enter. Conversations open up. Plans stick. There's a quiet momentum that builds over time. For north-facing homes, the dominant element is water, deep, reflective, calm. Here, blues, soft grays, and white are ideal. These colors reinforce the flow of energy, help the home feel emotionally steady, and support mental focus, especially for those managing transitions. Retirement, grief, or healing, north-facing homes with water-supported fences tend to feel like sanctuaries. And when your mind is calm, clarity comes. And where clarity flows, money follows. If your home faces south, the energy is fire, ambition, visibility, and movement. This direction loves red, orange, and even soft pink. These colors activate energy. They energize the space, stimulate motivation, and support goals related to leadership, recognition, and career breakthroughs. For women stepping into a new chapter, launching a business, writing a book, or simply finding their voice again. A fence in these tones quietly says, "I'm ready to be seen." And that shift, subtle as it seems, opens unexpected doors. Because when you align the energy of your home with your own momentum, the world meets you halfway. For west and northwest-facing homes, the element is metal, clarity, focus, and long-term value. Here, white, silver gray, and cream work beautifully. These colors create clean, energetic boundaries, support communication, and help you hold onto wealth. A fence in a light metal tone signals steadiness. It invites peaceful prosperity, the kind that isn't rushed or volatile, but built quietly over time. I've seen homeowners with these orientations repaint their fences in light metallic tones and suddenly find themselves finishing old projects, updating wills, organizing finances, or reconnecting with family they hadn't spoken to in years. The energy says, clear things out, complete what matters, make room for what's next. And finally, northeast and southwest-facing homes belong to the earth element. These homes benefit from warm neutrals like cream, sandy yellow, or soft, earthy orange. These tones offer stability, emotional grounding, and a sense of being held by your space. In homes like these, energy doesn't need to rush. It just needs to feel safe. A fence in these colors creates the sense of a strong foundation, one that supports relationships, protects health, and builds wealth in slow, reliable ways. These are homes where people linger, where meals stretch longer, where conversations run deeper, where abundance comes not just in money, but in emotional richness. Now, why does any of this matter? Because the energy around your home affects the choices you make inside it. A fence that reflects your home's direction helps you move in alignment, not against resistance. It sets the tone before you even open the door. And when your environment is tuned to your own rhythm, things just work better. You rest more deeply. You solve problems faster. You attract people and opportunities that resonate with who you've become, not who you used to be. But here's the most important part. You don't need to get this perfect. Energy is forgiving. You can choose a softer version of a color. You can blend tones. You can even add plants, stones, or light to balance things out. What matters is the intention. The moment you begin to care about what your fence is saying, you've already changed what it does. You've shifted your home from passive container to active ally. And that shift is where prosperity begins. So take a slow walk around your home. Notice how the light hits your fence at different times of day. Feel the tone it sets, not just visually, but emotionally. Ask yourself, does this feel like a space where things grow, where energy moves, where blessings know where to go? And if not, maybe it's time for a new coat of paint. Not just for beauty, but for better flow. Because prosperity doesn't always need a new job or a big move or a lucky break. Sometimes it just needs a softer color, a clearer message, a fence that says, "The door is open, you're welcome here." Part 4, a quiet ritual to reset your fence's energy. Sometimes the change we need doesn't require knocking down walls or starting over. Sometimes it begins with a quieter act, something as simple and sacred as standing beside your fence with new awareness. Because once you understand that your fence isn't just wood and paint, but a living threshold between the world and your home, your relationship with it shifts. It's no longer just a boundary. It becomes a bridge. And like any bridge, it needs tending. Energy doesn't just come and go, it flows based on how we guide it. And your fence, when neglected or coated in tired intention, can become a point of stagnation rather than protection. But with a few quiet rituals, you can invite that flow back in. You can reopen the path. Start here, look at the condition of your fence, not just its color, but its surface. Is the paint peeling? Are there cracks, chips, or signs of water damage? Is the wood soft in places or the metal rusting? These may seem like minor cosmetic issues, but energetically they are signals. A cracked fence is like a cracked vessel. It cannot hold energy well. Even if the color is right, damage interrupts flow. The first ritual then is care. Wipe it down, wash off the dust, patch the soft spots, paint with attention, because when you care for the surface, you honor the boundary, and energy responds to care, always. Next, step closer and place your hand gently on the fence. Close your eyes for a moment and breathe slowly. Ask yourself, what kind of energy have I been letting in here? What have I unknowingly allowed to sit at this edge of my life? Fear, pressure, isolation, apathy? You don't need to name everything, but you do need to notice. That act alone shifts something. It takes you from being passive to being conscious, and consciousness opens the gate for change. Now, gather 3 simple things. A bowl of warm water with sea salt, a handful of clear quartz or 5-element stones, and a candle or lantern you can light safely nearby. You're not doing a ritual to fix anything. You're doing it to wake something up. The salt water is for clearing. Dip a cloth into it and gently wipe the base of your fence where it meets the earth. As you do, imagine releasing stuck or stagnant energy, energy that's lingered too long, energy that's no longer helping. You don't need to force it out, just let it wash away. After cleaning, take your stones. These don't have to be fancy, and place them at the base of the fence, ideally near the corners or close to your main gate. If you're comfortable, bury them slightly under the soil so they rest where the fence meets the earth. These stones act as stabilizers. They absorb excess tension, protect from energetic leaks, and reinforce the flow you're trying to welcome. You don't need to believe in magic for this to work. You only need to believe in intentional care, and that is a kind of magic all its own. Once the stones are in place, light your candle or lantern and let it sit beside the fence for a few minutes, especially around dusk when the boundary between day and night is softest. This is a symbolic act. The light reminds the space we are open again. We are ready for warmth. We are no longer hiding. And finally, say something softly, out loud or in your heart. Not a chant, not a spell, just a sentence that feels true. This space protects and welcomes, or this home receives what is good for us now, or simply we are ready. The words don't matter as much as the feeling. Your fence will understand. You can do this ritual seasonally, at the start of spring as the leaves fall in autumn, or any time you sense a shift. But the first time is always the most powerful because it's not about changing the world overnight. It's about realigning your home with the energy you're ready to live in. We clean our windows to see more clearly. We open doors to let fresh air in. The fence, too, deserves that same care. It deserves to be reset, not just repainted. And if you're not ready to repaint yet, don't worry. Sometimes the smallest acts are the most transformational. You can hang a small wind chime on the inside of the fence to break up stagnant energy with sound. You can plant something soft along the edge, lavender, rosemary, or even wildflowers. Living things pull in life. They remind the energy to move, and every time you pass by that fence, you'll remember, I did something for this space. I gave it attention. I invited change. You don't have to shout your healing. Whispering it is enough. Your home listens. The fence listens. And when you show up with presence, the energy shifts, even if no one else sees it. This is the kind of ritual that leaves no mess, makes no noise, but moves mountains. Because in the quiet act of wiping away dust, placing a stone, or lighting a small flame, you are telling your life, I am ready for flow. I am ready for peace. I am ready to receive again. And sometimes all it takes to change your home's entire energy field is the moment you realize your fence was never just a wall. It was waiting for you to come home. We began this journey with a question, one that might have felt simple at first. What color is your fence? But now you know it was never just about paint. It was about what lives between the lines, about how the spaces around us, silent, still, overlooked, can quietly shape how we feel, how we live, and what we allow ourselves to receive. You've seen how certain colors, though beautiful to the eye, can hold energy that slows things down, taupe brown that numbs joy, deep purple that stirs emotion without release, charcoal gray that wraps life in fog, and black, elegant, protective. But all too often a door that closes even to the things we've prayed to let in. You've seen how color, direction, and intention can either drain or guide the energy that enters your home. And maybe, for the first time in a long while, you felt seen, not just as a homeowner, but as a woman. As someone who has worked hard, carried quietly, made sacrifices no one else saw, and who still hopes, still wants peace, still believes there's more waiting. And there is more, because healing your home isn't about chasing perfection. It's about giving your space permission to shift as you shift. A new color on the fence won't erase every burden, but it can open a path, a softened light, a new rhythm, a message to the universe that says, I'm ready for ease, I'm ready for flow, I'm ready for something better. So wherever you are tonight, whether sitting with tea by the window or watching this on your phone after a long day, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for staying, for listening, for caring enough about your space to wonder what it might be holding. I hope this gave you not just knowledge, but comfort, not just facts, but something to feel. May your home grow lighter. May your boundaries breathe again. And may your fence, quiet, humble, waiting, become more than a wall. May it become the first gentle step toward a life that feels open again. You deserve that, truly. Until next time, take care and take your time.